Thank you all for coming. Councilmember Boyles, paging Drew Boyles. City Manager, you ready?
Yes, Mayor.
City Attorney?
Good to go.
City Clerk? Good evening. Thank you all for coming to tonight's City Council. Madam Clerk, can we have roll call, please?
We certainly may. Councilmember Keldorf is not here. Councilmember Giroux?
Here.
Councilmember Boyles?
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Baldino?
Here.
And Mayor Pimentel is not here this evening. The Mayor Pro Tem will be running our meeting.
As I will. Okay, thank you all for being here. We're going to start off with an invocation from Pastor Rob McKenna, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance, which will be led by Councilmember Drew. Pastor McKenna.
Let's pray. Father, I always consider it an honor to be able to stand here with our city leaders and officials and the community of El Segundo and Lord, look to you. In fact, your word tells us to pray for our leaders. And so tonight we do that. We lift up our council and our administrators, Lord God. We pray for all of our city officials. And Lord, as we're coming into the holiday season, Lord, I'm so thankful for what this community brings and what it does during this season, Lord, and the joy that it brings and just all the different things that from the lights to the gatherings, Lord, that take place. And so, Lord, we pray for covering over our city. Lord God, we pray that you would protect it, that you would keep it from evil, Lord God, that you would protect our police officers, our firefighters, Lord God, and all our first responders. And Lord, as we go through this season, Lord, help us to remember, Lord God, that although this is a joyous time for so many, but for some it's not. Lord, for those that have lost loved ones, Lord God, that are going through a difficult marriage or struggling with relationships with children, Lord God, that there's a lot of pain in this season as well. And so, Lord, may we not forget about our neighbor and those that are going through difficult seasons, Lord God. And Lord, may you be glorified in all that we do. I pray for the meeting tonight that you would lead the conversation. We pray this in your name. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right. Thank you, Pastor McKenna. Thank you, Councilmember Giroux. Before we get to public communications, we have a couple special presentations. Good night to be here. First, I'd like to introduce the field representative of constituent service for Congressman Ted Lieu, Miss Mia Tiagarjian, who will be presenting us with a commendation for our recently conducted and very successful State of the City.
Hello, everyone, and good evening. It's great to be here. I want to offer our sincerest congratulations from the office of Congressman to Ted Lieu for your very successful 2025 State of the City. And I know that it couldn't have been done without the help of Deputy City Manager Barbara Voss and her incredible team. So I wanted to acknowledge your hard work and your efforts. I know that Congressman Lieu is extremely appreciative of the city's dedication and commitment to citizens, to industry, and to community. El Segundo is truly the gem of the South Bay. Thank you so much.
Say a few words, Barbara. You have to.
Thank you so much. Okay, this is unplanned. I just want to say thank you to the city departments. There were several things that went on behind the scenes that they jumped in and helped with, whether it be blocking off parking for guests to park, offering a shuttle for guests to come in, having police patrol to help direct traffic. It was just really incredible to, anytime I had any kind of question or request, they jumped in and helped, and that was really heartwarming and just made me feel like a part of a really good team. And I also want to thank City Council. It was very easy to work with you all, and I think we all worked together to get the presentation and speeches just how we all wanted them, and I appreciate your leadership in making this happen. Thank you.
Thank you, Barbara.
Hey, Barbara, I just want to say one thing real quick. I want to apologize on behalf of Ryan and Lance for all their script iterations.
You know,
Just kidding. No, 2016, I think you came on board to this city in economic development. I know Alex was actually on EDAC with me back then, and you've done a great job, and you've been involved with every state of the city since. And you've done an amazing job. Almost hit our record turnout this year. Only
But
about
not
100 people
quite.
short, but
right.
who's counting? No, in all seriousness, Barbara, great job. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Let's get a picture.
Wonderful. Couple photos for you guys. Very nice. Here we go. And one more. And one more. Thank you so much.
All right, our next special presentation tonight is we have representatives from El Segundo's own youth drama who will be performing a song, We Will Rock You, from the musical Queen. Can you come up and just tell us, before you start performing your song, which I think is great, tell us about the show, where we can get tickets, what time the show is, all that good stuff?
Hi, thank you so much. We're from El Segundo Youth Drama, and this is one of our wonderful performers for the upcoming show, We Will Rock You. We're a rec park program, and we've been part of El Segundo for almost 40 years, and all of our performers are in tech this week, so they're getting ready for the shows we perform Friday at 7, Saturday at 7, and Sunday at 2, and tickets are available through Rec Park. And Friday, I've heard, is sold out, but there are still tickets for Saturday, Sunday. We would love to see you guys. The music for the show is fantastic. This is our senior show and has performers ages 11 to 18. And tonight we have Naomi Kenton, who is 13, and playing the role of Killer Queen, and she's one of the performers in We Will Rock You. And we're just very thankful for all of the community and city support to make this such a wonderful program. And now I will hand it over for Naomi. Pull up the music. I am not the most technical here, so give me a minute. Here we go. All right.
We should stand.
So
Stand
we-
right here. I'm
All
gonna
right,
come sit
so
down.
we'll give you,
Here we go.
yeah, as much,
As close to the speaker as possible, as close as your output as possible.
okay. I think she's gonna, yeah.
Naomi, that's incredible. You did not need a microphone. You did not need a microphone. Fantastic job. Thank you so much for coming in today. Okay, next on the agenda is public comment and communication. If you think you're nervous about talking to City Council, imagine singing.
Right?
Madam Clerk, how many cards do we have?
Mr. Mayor Pro Tem, we have six speakers this evening.
Okay, we'll do 5 minutes each.
Okie dokie. I would like to invite Reagan Pebley from the LA Sparks. Oh, are you coming together? Okay.
I wasn't ready to go this fast, but we'll do it. Hi, I'm Reagan Pebley. I'm the GM for the LA Sparks, and super honored to be here with all of you and also with the team of people that are helping us. But partnering with the city of El Segundo in this groundbreaking, historic, really momentous project, it's not just about building a house for the LA Sparks, it's about building a home. And we are so engaged and excited about making the city of El Segundo our home. What this does is it not only helps our team, but it's impactful in all of women's sports at every level. And it's exciting that the city of El Segundo wants to really lay that stake in the ground with us and be a beacon for that in such a, everyone knows that this is a mecca for great sports, and we want to bring not just a championship to this city, but we want to be a great partner with all of you and how we serve and how we show up to the city as well. My commitment as a GM is we work really hard to make sure we bring in players that are not only just really skilled, but players that we're proud of, that reflect the culture that we're after, that are, just women of honor and integrity, that represent what it means to pursue the best version of themselves, even in the hardest of moments. And I know that's something that this city will be really, really proud of and excited to partner with us in. So I just want to really say thank you. Thank you for opening your arms to us. I can't imagine how all the details and nuances that go into what you do. I know how nuanced my job is, but I can't imagine what all goes into that. But really, just genuinely thank you for not just helping us create a home for us, but just stand in a space with a lot of pride as we compete for WNBA championships, and we're staring eye to eye on the court and in free agency and all of that with some of the other top competitors in our league, and we can't do it without you, so thank you. That's it.
Thank you.
Tim Catt, please.
Hi there, my name is Tim Cott. I'm also here on behalf of the LA Sparks. I'm at Transwestern, where I lead our sports practice and we develop sports facilities all over the country. When we first got engaged by the Sparks, we did a comprehensive search across Los Angeles looking for what would be the best home. And obviously that included the site, included a huge investment from ownership, but El Segundo very quickly rose to the top as a place where the Sparks wanted to be, as Reagan just detailed. And this is going to mark the biggest investment in the history of women's sports into a training facility. So ownership is really committed. I think if you've seen the design, you've seen the renders. I know you have, because I was at the State of the City last week and it was a big piece of the presentation materials. The Sparks are thrilled to be joining 3 other professional sports teams in the Lakers, the Kings, and the Chargers, of course, who paved the way. And honestly, the Chargers were also a huge reason why El Segundo made so much sense, the success that our architect Gensler had with the Chargers in terms of delivering that project so quickly. So we look forward to an April, or a 2027 WNBA season open, and we're really grateful for the collaboration from the city. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
I'd like to invite Edward Quinn, please.
Well, this was such a wonderful evening and so much fun. I hate to be the one to sort of bring up a more serious topic. I'm here to, I live on 1013 East Acacia Avenue. I've lived there for 22 years. And by the way, when I moved there, I had no idea Candy Cane Lane existed, and it was one of the greatest discoveries ever. All my friends who started families before me could come to my house and, you know, park their cars and get an adult beverage, use the restroom. It was awesome. The 1000 block of Acacia, we've really been wearing it the last 5 to 10 years, but the last few years has gotten to a situation where I'm kind of here to plead. You know, Allie did such a great job running the community meeting, and I know, and she really explained the cost of this, but to block Acacia from Center Street up to Lomita and McCarthy, Meridian down there, and then maybe parking control up, and maybe take our parking spots and give them to the 1100 block, who I know are losing their parking spots from like 4 to 10 every day. And the reason being is, both Alex Abad and I last year had to power wash feces off of our front, where, you know, both of us had people relieve themselves and, you know, then bake in the sun, and we're sorry, and then his truck went through it, and he's power washing the whole street. The guy did it right in front of my house, and so I had to power wash that. Every morning I come out to, you know, a dozen empty Modelo bottles, but half of them are full of urine, bags and bags and bags of empty fast food. You know, a bunch of flies are in my bushes, and I have to dish out a dirty diaper. And that's not even actually the worst of it. Last year, a fight almost broke out of a parking spot in front of my house, and it sounded like it was gonna. I almost put the kids in the bathtub. That's how the kind of language that was being used. And then my wife called one night, and she was up at Lomita and McCarthy, because we've had to come in from the west to get to our street, because you can't come in from the east, it's just too much traffic. And she was stuck, because 2 people were blocking the street, both facing north, and they were waiting for a parking spot. And they were gonna wait until somebody came, and she's just trying to, one kid just got out from water polo, the other one's out of soccer, it's 8:30 at night on a weekday, and she's just saying, can you please let me by, I live down there. And I told her to go out herself. And I was on the phone. I wasn't home, thank God. But at some point, a dad's gonna be home, and I think we know what that's gonna lead to. I see so many families walking down the middle of the street, you know, because they have to park so far away. And I think if we think for a minute, why are people treating us like this? We have to give them some grace because of the internet, because of social media, because of the movie. We're projecting that this is an event. It's hometown fair. It's a concert in the park. And if I drove from here to Pasadena, I would at least expect parking, bathrooms, food trucks. And so when none of that's provided, it's almost like, come look at our pretty homes and beat it. I can see the frustration in some people. Not everyone. Most people are gracious and lovely as the holidays, but we're really wearing it. And I'm worried something bad is gonna happen, a road rage accident, a fight, something along those lines. And so we would just love if you guys could consider blocking Acacia at Center, parking control up at Lomita and McCarthy. And again, I know there's a lot of residents on the 1100 block who don't have an alley, and they're stuck in, they can't get to their house and they can't leave. And I think Walnut's another one that's having a lot of trouble. Give them our parking spots, designate them, whatever you need to do. But thank you guys so much.
Thank you, Mr. Quinn.
Michael Paolillo.
Said a lot of things I was going to say. Thank you. My name is Michael Paolillo. I've been a resident on the 1100 block of East Acacia, so I am on the block that leads into Candy Cane Lane since around the year 2000. So I've owned my home there for 25 years. And again, not to be a downer, Candy Cane Lane, when I first moved in, was something that was very enjoyable. I would invite family and friends over. Seeing the lights was something I was very proud of. As was just mentioned, the last 10 years, this has turned into a complete nightmare. It's not enjoyable at all. It's something that gets me very depressed every Christmas, and I get upset about it because, you know, for 3 weeks, we're basically trapped in our homes. And at least the last few years, we've been able to at least have access to park in front of our homes. About 2 weeks ago, we were informed with a flyer in the mail that new requirements were being put onto our street, that we are no longer allowed now to park on our street at night at 4:30, we have to clear, or if we come home after 4:30, there are no parking spots. Not being able to park in front of your house at 4:30 is just, it's a ridiculous thing. I don't know anyone here that gets home from work before 5 o'clock. Most people work 9 to 5. I was told, Ally's been great, but she just informed me that she was told that the event starts at 5 o'clock every night. That's never been a thing. I've been there 25 years. It's always started at 7. The street's never been shut down before 6 p.m. To shut our street down and not give us parking is, you know, we have small children, we have special needs children, there's elderly. There's no place to go. There's no place to park. Even the people with garages have a difficult time because people block the garages. They're one-car garages. We're multiple-car families. And it's just not being able to come home from work and like, where am I going to go? Like, honestly, like, imagine coming home from work and you can't go to the grocery store. Your wife can't go pick up the children, or you can't go pick up the children for after-school activities. This Candy Cane Lane, it's not fun anymore. And it's out of control. And we're making it into a carnival. You know, like having vendors and having bathrooms and making it more amenable, it's just making, we can't sustain, it's a zoo. And we're making it more of a zoo by I don't know what else to do but to say we need to tap this down for a couple years. Like, it's out of control. People are defecating in our yards, they're peeing in our yards, there's trash everywhere. Just imagine this being your street and you can't even invite your friends and family to your home for 3 weeks. This is not 3 days. This is 3 weeks this is happening every single year. And so it's very important to be able to have access to our homes. And look, it was told to me it was a safety issue, that people shouldn't be able to drive down the street. Well, on Christmas Eve and Christmas Day, there's no cops there. And it's the biggest nights of the year. The most crowds we have is Christmas. No cops anywhere. So where's the safety issue then? Where's the concern then? It becomes a bit of a hypocritical thing at that point because it's safety when it's convenient. So I just want to, I don't know what to do. I don't want to be a Grinch. I love this city. I love the lights, but something needs to be done. If you guys lived on our blocks, you would feel the same way. And the 4:30 at night needs to change. There's no way if you block our streets off at 4:30, we'll have anywhere to go. It's at least give us till 6 o'clock, please. Let us get a chance to get home, get our kids home, get our kids fed, go to the grocery store. I don't know how a city could just decide to come and shut our streets down without our permission. I shut streets down for a living, ironically. I work in the film business, and I can't do it without the homeowner's permission. 1,000%. So how can the city manager or the city attorney decide, or the police chief decide, we're not part of Candy Cane Lane, 1100 block, the 1100 block. We never asked for this. We're not a part of Candy Cane Lane, all right? We respect Candy Cane Lane, and it's great and all, but that's not why I bought my house. I don't want to be a part of this if I can't live a normal life for 3 weeks. So please change the 4:30 to 6 o'clock. And then we need to have a discussion on the agenda next year. Getting a letter in the mail or a flyer in the mail on a Monday for a Thursday afternoon meeting and being told of all these changes, that's inexcusable. The fact that this wasn't addressed before, 2 weeks before this is happening, inexcusable. Let's have a discussion in June or August or September, for God's sakes. But 2 weeks before this is supposed to happen, you're, hey, guess what? You're going to be trapped in your home for 3 weeks. How would any of you react to that? So I would just ask you to consider that, please, and just consider the neighbors who've lived there for decades and
Sir,
love
you're
this
out of time.
town. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'd like to invite Ron and Anna Maria Miller.
Hi, I'm Anna Maria Miller. This is my husband Ron, and we also live in the 1100 block of Candy Cane Lane. And pretty much what these two gentlemen have said is everything we're feeling too. We feel like the consideration is for all the people coming to view the lights and not the consideration for the people that live there that also want to enjoy their Christmas. And we cannot enjoy our Christmas if we cannot leave our houses when we want to. We don't want to park our car 3 blocks away and have to walk to it to go to dinner with friends. We want to be able to get out of our driveway and enjoy our holiday just like everybody else. It is not fun, Candy Cane Lane. I didn't sign up for Candy Cane Lane. I don't want Candy Cane Lane. I want to enjoy my life at the holidays like everyone else.
Yes, I
I
feel the same
think-
way. And basically, I don't think you guys really have the right to do what you're doing.
You can't
I
stop
don't
us
think
from
this is a
pulling
legal-
out of our
legal matter.
driveway
It's not temporary. This is a permanent situation
for 2 weeks.
for 2 weeks, at least. And I don't think you can deny us access to our property. I think you have to provide us access. What we had last year worked fine. You're always gonna have trouble in the future. This is gonna get bigger and bigger, like the gentleman just said. And you gotta start now thinking about what you're gonna do about it. So the last year's program worked out okay. We're okay to go back to that. That's
Yeah.
it.
But we will not leave our driveway. I just want you guys to know, if I want to leave, I am going to get in my car and leave my driveway.
I agree too.
I'm not doing it. I'm not
Thank
doing
you.
it. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm so sorry, there is one more. Chad Hahn, please.
Good evening, council members. I'm also here to talk about Candy Cane Lane, hopefully a more wholesome, positive aspect of it, although I appreciate some of the challenges that you all have been dealing with and some of the challenges with recent changes that have happened, quickly. So I'm going to speak on behalf of parents and children who sell items during the Candy Cane Lane timeframe. And specifically, my understanding is there's several families that sell items during Candy Cane Lane. I'm going to speak specifically about my son and some of his friends that started something called Candy Lane Cocoa about 4 years ago. We're here to advocate for the ability to continue to sell items. And we're advocating for that for 2 main reasons. Number one is we think it actually enhances the overall experience of visitors. My son and some of his friends started their little Candy Lane Cocoa thing about 4 years ago as 12-year-olds, very innocuously. It was nothing more than a lemonade stand selling, hot chocolate and some popcorn. And we know it's enhanced the experience of visitors because the demand for what they were selling has increased year over year. And every time that they open up the stand and we're talking to the parents, they comment on how much fun it is and how great it is that they're able to get some hot cocoa or cookie or popcorn while they're enjoying the lights. We also know that it's popular because there are actually Yelp reviews. I didn't even realize that Candy Cane Lane had a Yelp page, but there are Yelp reviews talking about how great it is to have these items vended. And the kids actually really enjoy giving away some of these items for free because not everybody brings money when they come to Candy Cane Lane. And they get a lot of smiles on their faces. So it's something that we think enhances the overall experience. The other reason that we'd like to advocate for continuing to do this is because it's teaching the children life lessons. These children are, especially as their hot cocoa stand's grown, they've had to work as a team, learn how to essentially run a small social enterprise for a short period of time. They have to divide and conquer. They have to make sure that they have enough inventory. And last year, we actually suggested that the kids give some of the money away from charity that they make. So they got involved with Mayberry Christmas, which is an organization that provides Christmas gifts to people in need. And they enjoyed that so much that they're actually taking over Mayberry Christmas, and they want to use Candy Lane Cocoa as a way to raise money. Now, we understand that there are some people who are advocating against being able to sell. And one of the arguments we hear is that they don't want to over-commercialize Candy Cane Lane, and I'm particularly sensitive to what you all are saying as well about over-commercializing. We agree. We don't want to see this turn into something where a bunch of out-of-town vendors come in and sell trinkets or light up things. But we do feel that there's probably a pragmatic balance between not allowing that, but still allowing residents to sell things that we think add to the overall wholesome experience, especially when the people selling these items are, you know, kids that grew up on those neighborhood blocks, that go to the schools, that participate in the community, supported by parents who, you know, put roots in this town because they enjoy the wholesome aspect and atmosphere of El Segundo. We also understand that people have problems with the trash that gets created because, you know, we do serve items in cups and, you know, there's popcorn bags. We also think that there's pragmatic solution there that doesn't require you to shut down the ability to sell anything. The kids would be happy to do a sweep at the end of the night to pick up trash. It's also a way to help, you know, help them learn the principles of hard work. If there's issues with lines, because we've heard that there's, you know, people have issue with lines, we can move the location of the stand, and certainly the other people that are selling items can do the same. So we feel like, in short, there's pragmatic solutions to these problems without taking away the ability to let these children express themselves. And I will say there's some concerns that we have about the overall process here. It seems like changes are being made at kind of last minute. We were invited to a meeting by Parks and Recs that I think was, last Thursday. There was an informal vote taken. We didn't feel like the people that were voting were really representative of the full city, and we certainly didn't feel like we had representation. There was this note that was sent out, ostensibly making it seem like a decision's already been made about no vendors being allowed in the area. We don't understand how this was sent out when we thought this was still an open.
Mr. Hahn, your time is up.
Yeah, so appreciate your time. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments?
No, sir.
Okay. City Manager, care to respond?
Sure, thank you, Mayor. First of all, I want to thank Reagan and Tim for coming to El Segundo. We certainly look forward to working with you as you prepare your facility. But welcome to the team here. We really appreciate it. So thank you for coming tonight. With regards to Candy Cane Lane, I will ask our Parks, Recreation, and Library Director to come up and just say a few words, if that's okay. I know it's not on the agenda tonight, but a few words.
No, I think it's fine for Park and Rec Director to say a few words, but there can't be any discussion or decisions or direction this evening. It's not on the
If
agenda.
an item is not on the agenda and it has not been posted, City Council is not allowed to vote or take action on that item. We are, sir, you had your time. Sir, you cannot interrupt the meeting. If it's not on the agenda, we cannot take official action, but we will allow time for staff to respond with their comments.
So yes, Ally, if you could please share, I know that over the last several weeks, there's been obviously comments from residents from both sides of the equation with regards to Candy Cane Lane. And I know that we as staff meet annually many times to recap the previous year's Candy Cane Lane, what went right, what went wrong, how to tweak things, how to make things more safe, more enjoyable for people, and also try and recognize the residents' concerns. And obviously this year there were a number of concerns that came up in the number of meetings that you had. I know you've received a multitude of phone calls, of emails. You did your community meeting. Maybe just share a little bit of how we as staff tried to gather all of that information to make a responsible decision, if you will, on some of these key factors.
Good evening, Mayor Pro Tem, members of the council. So this is a really tricky event. We have city events that we are in full control of, and Candy Cane Lane is a little bit different. It started with the residents, it started by the residents. My understanding is the city's involvement has grown over the years, but is still a little bit of a blurry line. And that's challenging. It's challenging for staff to know when to step in, when not to step in. We have been meeting with residents on Candy Cane Lane since last year. There are a couple of residents that reach out proactively and talk to us about different issues, things that have come up. And so we've responded to that. We've been working with these residents, like I said, for several months. So these policy decisions that we made were based on discussions we've had with these folks and a number of city staff that meet every month to talk about all special events and, what's needed, how are we going to handle them, et cetera. So the number one issue that comes up is safety. And unfortunately, we did have an incident last year where someone drove into the area that was barricaded, and it was I know the chief's here, but he can talk about it, but it was a very scary incident. And that's sort of how this came to light, about residents entering and exiting their homes, even if they're escorted by a police officer, that there's still a vehicle moving with a significant amount of pedestrians in the roadway. So that's how that recommendation came to be. I will say, and I spoke with Michael earlier, and I've spoken with a lot of the residents there, we are trying to implement a resident parking program for the folks that are affected, so providing them essentially parking nearby on Imperial, on Sycamore, so that at least they have a close access to their vehicle should they need to get in and out. In terms of the sales, I heard the folks tonight. I have a lot of residents on the other side saying, why are we allowing this? It's a huge mess. It hasn't been cleaned up in the past by anybody. It's been city staff going out. Street power washing, et cetera. This event is a significant impact. So, we are trying to gauge and weigh all of the feedback. This is a really challenging situation. It's really hard to know what is best, but that's where we stand at this moment.
You explained some of the background and the process. Do you want to go over what these rules are? This is the first some of us on the dais are hearing about what was decided or the results thereof.
Again, if briefly you want to say that, but again, there won't be any other discussion.
There's no discussion or action from the dais.
But if there's going to be an announcement of rules that I was not aware of, I'm going to want to say something. So I think this would be a bad idea.
You and me both.
Sir, please, I'm trying to help you out here. If you can just let me do my job, I'd appreciate it. So I really think that's a bad idea. I'm going to say, I made a joke at the State of the City last week that I was disappointed that I had broken my streak of being quoted in the paper 4 weeks in a row. And I'm desperately trying not to start a new streak right now. But I am incredibly disappointed that that flyer went out, because there is obviously feedback that I was given that things were pretty much in agreement, and it clearly is not. I don't like the idea of selective code enforcements. I don't like the idea of selective street enforcements. I don't like the fact that this hasn't been discussed. So I am asking right now, as I asked 3 weeks ago, for this to be put on the agenda, either under my name or under the general one, so that we can have a real discussion about what is the right way to go about this.
Okay, you've got a request to put it on the next agenda? You'll see that gets done?
Yes, we will put it on the next agenda.
Okay. Thank you, Ms. Mancini.
Thank you.
All right. That concludes public communications. We now move on to procedural motions. Can I get a motion to...
So moved. Second.
Motion and a second to read all by title. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. 3 ayes. Thank you. Next is our consent calendar. Are there any pulls from the 3 items we have on the consent calendar? Okay, can I get a motion to approve the consent?
So moved. Second.
That's Giroux with the motion, Boyles with the second. All in favor?
Aye.
All right, 3-0. Thank you. All right, now we have a public hearing. And this is an introduction of an ordinance to amend a development agreement number 5751 for the Beach Cities Media Campus. And do we have a staff report?
Yes, we do.
Excuse me? Oh, right. Madam Clerk, is this the time and place here to fix for a public hearing? And was proper notice of the hearing given in a timely manner?
Proper notice was given.
And Madam Clerk, have we received any written communication regarding this public hearing?
No written communication has been received.
Okay, then we'll now open the public hearing. Mr. George, who has a presentation, looks like Eduardo is already ready.
Eduardo, from our Community Development Department.
All right.
Great, thank you, Mr. Mayor, or City Manager. Mayor Pro Tem, good to see you again. It's been a while. Rest of the council as well. So the item before the council deals with the DA amendment, the development agreement. Development agreement governs the site and development at the Beach Cities Media Campus property. Now, although the property is zoned mixed-use south and allows for a variety of commercial, retail, and office-type uses, the DA, which was approved back in 2019, has unique standards applicable to the site. With the new ownership that has taken over the property, the new owner has submitted a request to amend that DA by expanding the allowable uses at the site. Specifically, the requested amendment broadens the permitted uses to include a sports headquarters and training facility. The proposed amendment provides greater flexibility for future development of the site and is in line with the underlying zoning and the variety of developments that already exist along the Rosecrans corridor. So last week, the Planning Commission reviewed and the requested amendment to the DA along with a proposed development and the concept for that. And the Planning Commission adopted a resolution that recommends City Council approve the requested amendment to DA number 5721. And so amending this DA will finalize and effectuate the approval of that development. And so therefore, it is recommended that the City Council approve the requested DA amendment. And with that, I can answer any questions.
Any questions for staff? Okay, thank you. And now is the time for public input on the public hearing. Anyone else wish to address council on this amendment to the development agreement? Seeing no rush to the podium, I'll go ahead and close public communication.
We need to have a motion and a second. for
So
that.
I'll move that we close public input.
Motion moved to close public. Can I get a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Any council member comments?
I want to say welcome, and you're in good company. Not only Chargers, Kings, Lakers, but also World Surf League, although they're moving, unfortunately. Premier Lacrosse League was here for a while. Mike Rabel, Paul Rabel, great guys. And LA Rugby is still here. So you're in great company. Welcome. We can't wait to see that thing built. And then you're going to have amazing housing across the street. I'm sure you know that Manhattan Beach approved like 1,500 homes with an overlay right on Rosecrans. So it's going to be amazing over there. Can't wait to see it built. Thank you.
Yes, welcome El Segundo. We're very excited to have you. We look forward to your premier facility, a world-class facility that's really going to add to the prestige and valor here in El Segundo. Thank you for choosing us. We look forward to working with you on all of your community events. And if you didn't know, Mr. Kotz already offered you to host the next State of the City in 2027. So we'll talk with Barbara Voss and get all those details together. Thank you, guys. All right. Next item we have is a staff presentation.
Mayor and council, the ordinance.
Oh, right. We should probably actually introduce it.
City attorney to read.
Mayor Pro Tem and council, an ordinance approving and adopting a First Amendment to Development Agreement number 5751 to amend the allowable uses and its conceptual site plan as alternative number 4 for Beach Cities Media Campus is ready for introduction.
Can I
I'll
have a motion?
introduce, if that's okay.
We have an introduction by Councilmember Boyles.
And this will be brought back at your next meeting for potential second reading and adoption, which is on December, help me out, clerk, 2nd. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Mr. Hensley. All right, that moves us to the next item on our agenda. Item D5 is a staff presentation of the fiscal year 2025-26 first quarter financial report. And I see Mr. Chung getting ready for his presentation.
Good evening, Mayor Pro Tem, City Council members. I have just a a brief presentation for you for our first quarter financial report. This covers the months of July through September. And I will also provide you a brief update on our Tyler implementation, and lastly, staff's recommendation. Before I start the presentation, I was informed by the city clerk that there was a slight typo on the staff report on the recommendation section. It read fiscal year 2024-25. It should have said fiscal year 25-26. I just wanted to let the council know about that and to be on the record as well, so we'll fix that as well. Thank you, city clerk, for informing me. With that said, let me begin with numbers. General fund revenues for during this quarter, this is usually the quiet quarter for us. We collected $7.3 million. That's 7% of our overall budget. Revenues for last year was $8.2 million, or 9% of that year's budget. So relatively flat. The 5 revenue sources, our big revenue sources, which I'll go into in subsequent slides, are anticipated to meet budget. But there are certain items I do want to discuss with the council, or at least present to the council on things that I'm seeing on some of the sales tax, TOT, and UUT. With that said, future financial reports, as I mentioned, since quarter one is a quiet quarter, you'll probably see more data in the subsequent quarters coming up. So I'll present that to you in the coming months. And also, any big variances or significant variances, I will be coming to council in late January or February regards to mid-year. And I will inform the council if we do need to adjust any revenues or expenditures. With that said, on our sales, during this period, sales tax, TOT, utility users tax, and charges for service are main contributors to our revenue sources. Some of the small items like business license, of course, comes in on the third quarter. And then property tax comes in during the second quarter to the fourth quarter. So we'll see that fluctuating as we move into our later quarters as well. This slide is the slide I do want to spend just a little bit of time regards to our top 5 revenue sources, starting from the left to and moving to the right. Sales tax. The blue bar is our current fiscal year, comparing that to the orange bar, which is last fiscal year during this quarter. So it's a year-over-year comparison. On the sales tax side, we are seeing some softening on our sales tax. We saw an 8% decrease year over year. And there could be various contributing factors, but from what I'm seeing is that not only just timing of receipts, but comparing to last year, there was a large receipt that came in. But really, it looks like business and industry, we were seeing some weakness there from some of the data that I've seen. That's investments that big companies are doing on our El Segundo side that are, from what I'm hearing, it's tariff related, expansion of their business. Maybe they're just kind of waiting to see on the tariff side. So we are seeing that on the sales tax side for the transaction use tax. At this point, I don't see it as a red flag. I do want to see some more quarters coming in so that we can kind of gauge what the true picture is, but at least that's what I'm seeing, at least on the sales tax side. Regards to business license, as I mentioned, Q3 is when we collect majority of our business license, so you'll see that data come in during my Q3 presentation. On TOT, TOT also is about 8% down year over year during this, at least these 3 months quarter. And from what I'm seeing, we do see about a 3 to 4% decrease in just occupancy rates in the hotels. Also, just on the room rates as well, we've been seeing a 2 to 3% decrease during this 3 months period when we compare it to last year. So I'm just eyeing this really closely to make sure if this continues, if this is just a trend during this particular quarter, or is this going to prolong into the second or third quarter. So I will be coming to council during mid-year to see how we're doing. And of course, if we need to adjust potentially our revenues down, I would of course inform the council as well. As you know, we have the World Cup and some of the bigger events coming in the later years. So I don't see it as a big item to be concerned. But of course, at least during this three-month period, I do see some weakness there. Property tax, as you know, comes in second quarter, third quarter, and fourth quarter, so we'll see that activity in the subsequent quarters. And lastly, utility users tax. Regards to this, as you can see, there's this big delta, and that's really equates to about 18%. And so before we get too alarmed. We did anticipate a decrease in utility users tax because we knew that post-COVID it was at a peak, and we did anticipate that coming down. But it looks like most of this decrease is driven by Chevron's cogen production on the utility user side. So 3 months worth is probably too quick to make a quick judgment call. But for me, I want to see at least 6 months to 9 months worth of data. So as I mentioned, I will come back to council during mid-year to give you an update on how we're doing on these 5 revenue sources. But at this point, I don't see a red flag. It's just more of a observation that I'm seeing on the revenue side.
Paul, on the UUT.
Yes.
That's a pretty significant variance. What, different from years past? What?
So most of it, it's our UUT, the cogen portion of the Chevron, that fluctuates quite a bit. It depends on how much they're producing.
What percent is that of overall UUT though?
Do you know?
I don't know. Anyway, I'm just like, I think that there's some telling things when you say red flags. I'd look at it a little differently. We haven't had the number of layoffs, the WARN notices in October, the highest level, highest month ever since 2006, which was the couple years preceding the GFC. So I'm not going to say the sky is falling, but I think we should continue to be really prudent in our financial planning as a city.
Yes, no, I agree with you, council member, that when I saw the UT come in, as I mentioned, there's one-time peaks that did happen last year, so the comparison is not a true apples-to-apple comparison. But the thing that really stuck out for me was the cogen portion of it. The good thing about the cogen, though, is also we have the Chevron true-up payment that kind of makes up for if they don't bring in as much cogen, that of course they're going to make that up on the true-up payment. So that's where I felt that it's not a red flag, but there definitely is some signs of either softening, weakening a little bit in certain revenue sources. Hence, I wanted to bring it to your attention during this quarter. Just overall revenues on the general fund side on the bottom, we budgeted $104.6 million. And as I mentioned, we brought in $7.3 million. That's 7% of our overall budget. And also on our all funds revenue side, we budgeted $185 million. We brought in 26.1, so that's 14% of our overall revenues. On the expenditure side, we spent $24.5 million, or 23% of our budget. Compare that to last year of 24.3, or 25% from prior year. And the most significant kind of variances is just on departmental kind of savings and timing of expenditures. So nothing to flag for the council. As I mentioned, I will be coming back to council after this quarter. We'll have more of a better data source 6 months in. So I'll come back to council and kind of inform you if there's anything that's I'm seeing in regards to big variances. And lastly, of course, mid-year, I'll come back to council to inform you on how we're doing 6 months in. Just overall, police and fire is the higher expenditure, of course, but during this period, transfers out tends to be the highest because we have our pension obligation bond that goes out every year during July. And then also we have our insurance payment that goes out, so that's a large payment. So expenditure-wise, we always typically see first quarter to be the highest in expenditures. Overall, general fund expenditures, we budgeted $104 million. We spent 24.5 of that, and so we're about 23% in, so that's pretty in line with what we expected. On the all funds side, we budgeted $216 million. We spent $47.3 million, so we spent close to 22% of our overall budget. So once again, aligned with what we expected. In summary, general fund reserves, we keep it at 25% or $23.5 million. Our general fund balance as of June 30th, 25 was $43.5 million. $2 million are kept for our economic uncertainty reserve. We have $40.1 million in our OPEB reserve, 6.7 in our pension trust reserve, and lastly, $400,000 in our general fund CIP reserve as well. Last slide is just a quick update on our ERP. We started the ERP implementation back in January of 25. 10 months in, we went live on October 7th. That was our first big milestone. We were able to successfully print checks on October 10th, so the system is working. There are certain kinks and little road potholes, I call them, as we kind of learn the new system, but everything is working as planned. January 2026 is when we're going to start our second module implementation of our HR module, which is our payroll system. And then that will be a 12-month period, so that'll take us all the way to the end of December 2026. And lastly, April 26 is when the utility billing module will go live for the city as well. That concludes my presentation. This is a receive and file for City Council. Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions? Do we have consensus to receive and file? Okay, receive and file. Thank you, Mr. Chung.
Thank you.
Our next agenda item is a staff presentation requesting a resolution requesting membership in the California Intergovernmental Risk Authority for participation in the liability and workers' compensation programs and authorization to enter into their joint powers agreement and authorization to provide confirmation of the city's withdrawal from the Independent Cities Risk Management Authority. And Mr. Hensley, I believe you have a presentation on this?
Yes, Mayor Pro Tem and Council. The city, for purposes of its liability, workers' comp, property, most recently cyber insurance, which has been added, has received its insurance, if you will, through a joint powers association that was formed back in the 1980s, and the city's been a member of that authority since 1985. It's the Independent Cities Risk Management Authority. And back in the 80s, the cities throughout California, I can't speak for the country, were finding it difficult to get insurance individually through different carriers, and so they formed these pools in order to be able to insure themselves against risk. And so El Segundo at that time joined the ICRMA. At that time, the ICRMA was comprised of approximately 30 cities. What we've witnessed over the last 10 years or so is that the number of cities in the ICRMA has been dwindling. It's projected that if the city of El Segundo leaves, as we've given notice to the ICRMA that the city is likely to leave, that by 2026 that may be down to single digits. This has caused a lot of concern by the staff that that the ICRMA just may cease to exist anytime in the next 12 to 24 months, given just how quickly, particularly over the last 5 years, it's diminished in size. So based upon that, the staff spent the last year, and this has really been the HR staff, Rebecca and Reddick and her team. I'm presenting tonight because she's out at a conference. I did work with her on this issue and look at the information that was coming in, but really was the heavy lifting was done by Rebecca and her staff, and I want to make sure I point that out. They spoke with about 5 different insurance pools that were out there, and for various reasons, cost and quality of service, size, the city they're recommending that they go with the California Intergovernmental Risk Authority. This is called CIRA for its insurance going forward. CIRA has 59 cities, and they are spread throughout the state pretty evenly between Northern and Southern California. They're going to offer all of the same insurance that the city is currently getting through the ICRMA, the workers' comp, the liability, the property, all of the different insurance will cover the city. And the cost, even with the tail the city has to pick up on its prior insurance for the ICRMA, is going to save the city initially about $50,000 a year. And that's projected, assuming that everything stays equal as far as claims and those types of issues, that savings will grow over the course of the next several years, up to $200,000 or $300,000. That's really the meat of my presentation here. I'd be happy to answer any questions you have, but the staff is recommending to proceed as set forth in the recommendation.
Thank you, Mr. Hensley. Any questions? Okay, the reason there aren't any questions is we were presented this in closed session with the presentation. We've all asked our questions and vetted this. This to us is a way to keep the city safe, to keep our insurance rates at a reasonable level. And without any further ado, I'll accept a motion to adopt the resolution.
Yes. A resolution of the City Council of the City of El Segundo requesting membership in the California Intergovernmental Risk Authority and participation in liability and workers' compensation programs is ready for adoption, and there are other action items that are part of the recommendation. And you can do that all in one motion.
Okay. We have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
All right, 3-0. Thank you.
Yeah.
And thank you, City Attorney and Rebecca and her staff for putting that together for us. Next agenda item is an introduction of an ordinance regulating electric bicycles, off-highway motorcycles, motorized bicycles, pocket bicycles, motorized scooters, and other electronic or motorized conveyances. And do we have a presentation?
Yes, Mayor Pro Tem, this will be a combination of our city attorney's office and our police department.
I'm going to give a brief overview of the ordinance and what it is attempting to cover, and then the police department can answer questions. This is a very targeted ordinance towards electric bikes, scooters, et cetera, that over the last particularly 5 or 6 years have been proliferating around Southern California and California in general. There have been issues that the police department has been addressing as far as safety issues, and particularly with some of the electric bikes and being ridden in ways that are unsafe for the riders and for the public. Manhattan Beach, Hermosa Beach, Redondo Beach, Torrance have all adopted similar regulations to assist in trying to keep their sidewalks, streets, and parks safer. This would add to the prohibition. Currently, bicycles are prohibited in the business districts, on the sidewalks, on the parks, and recreation areas. And so this would add electric bikes and scooters, et cetera, to that list of prohibited areas. It will also give the authority to the police department to confiscate these bikes from minors when they're being driven in an unsafe manner, which means either unsafe speeds, under the influence, et cetera. And also will give the authority to issue citations for, and they'll be graduated in scale from $100 for the first violation, $200 for the second, $500 for the third. And the intent of all this is to hopefully solve an issue with safety, and particularly with minors, is the city's been having an issue with. And with that, I'll let the police department add to that and address questions from the council.
Thank you, City Attorney. Good evening, Mayor Pro Tem and Council. Yeah, like has been mentioned, our main focus has been, since I first got here over a year and a half ago now, has been the safety of the bike riders, making sure the community is safe. As was mentioned, we have done a great job in trying to curb a lot of that behavior through our three-prong approach. So far in 2023, there was roughly 15 traffic-related accidents with e-bike riders. Before we did our presentation a year and a half ago, we were on pace to have 20 in 2024. We only had 14. So we started off at that point, we had 10 3 months in. We curbed that pretty quickly. This year, we've had 5 e-bike related accidents. One of them was pretty bad. We had it recently on Mariposa Avenue, where a young man crashed into a car going at a very high rate of speed. That was because he was driving unsafe. So far, year to date, we've had about 118 e-bike related calls for service. Our main goal is try to curb the behavior and make sure that there's no unsafe riders out there. And I have my expert here on e-bike riders. By the way, he's the guy who knows everything.
I don't know about all that.
Yes, you do.
Do you have any questions?
Any questions?
Yeah, actually, I was looking at the proposed ordinance, and I just want to make sure I understand what we're trying to get to here, because what it states here is that we're looking to amend our code, but it also says from being ridden or operated on a sidewalk in any of these districts, in a business district, a public park, or recreation area. Are we just talking about sidewalks?
I'll let Lieutenant McEnroe talk about that.
No, so I met with council Mark's David King, and basically we talked about, we reviewed all the codes that relate to bicycles and whatnot, and that particular code was outdated, so it needed to be updated, the sidewalks section. The new code that we're introducing is the one riding e-bikes unsafe, and that includes all public spaces. So roadways, sidewalks, parks, and whatnot, and we limited it to, because majority of the problem that we're encountering, our officers are encountering, and the complaints are coming from the citizens, are juveniles operating them unsafely. So that's why we just limit it to impounding juvenile bikes ridden by juveniles, I should say.
Gotcha. So, okay, good. Thank you, because I was reading through that and I was like, okay, so they can still wheelie down the street, but sidewalk's a problem. So the second thing I want to ask about is the actual, the non-street legal bikes. It's basically they're motorcycles.
Yes.
Pedals don't work, the pedals are fixed.
So there's an assembly bill that was passed by the governor that beginning January, we can impound those. That's why in this code, this gives us a little more ability to impound those when they're driving unsafe.
So in January, immediately impound, no
Correct.
3-strike rule, just
Correct.
take them right off.
We can take them off the street.
Okay, excellent. Thank you very much.
And they don't need to be ridden unsafely. Just their presence, they're able to be impounded.
Thank you.
So you can, if you have an M class, you can drive those if you have an M class, right?
No.
The electric,
They off-road electric dirt bikes only if they've been
okay, so
registered
if they
with
don't
the
have like
DMV,
lights
and
or,
basically they're turned into mopeds.
Gotcha,
so they
okay.
have mopeds, and they would have license plates. We have a couple of those in town. They're not the ones causing the problems.
And the young man I mentioned who got into the accident was driving one of the illegal ones. We couldn't have impounded it. So now if we have this in place, we can prevent a lot of these accidents from occurring again. That's our goal.
I appreciate updating the code that applied only to basically bicycles to everything. With the unsafe riding, the way you've been handling it now is, a while back, we gave instructions as council to enforce your laws on e-bikes before somebody gets hurt. And that led to a bunch of kids getting citations and tickets. I know I had a neighbor kid come to me, he got a $400 ticket. It eventually got reduced to $50. But you also had a program where if you got a ticket, you can come to the police station and do an e-bike class. And then once you do that, we don't send the ticket downtown. It's kind of like a mea culpa. You come with your parent, right? I think the parent participation is important. Do one of our safety classes, and then it's kind of like your first strike. Is that included in this? Because when I read this section, it doesn't mention anything about that, or is that just a protocol that you're going to follow that's going to lay on top of this code that basically gives you the authority to impound and citation immediately?
Yeah, I'll let Corey expand on that, but when you talk about a young man or a young woman who's driving, with no helmet, ran a stop sign, that's not considered egregious behavior. When we talk about the kind of bikes we're going to impound when they're driving egregious, I'll let Corey expand on that. When we're looking at, they're doing a wheelie, they're running a stop sign, they're on the sidewalk, they're doing behavior beyond just the basic, running a stop sign or anything like that, but I'll let Corey expand on that too as well.
Yeah, so I can understand like the confusion in that, but an example of where this would apply is, say we have a juvenile that's riding their bike and they blow through a stop sign. That juvenile may receive a citation for the stop sign violation. That juvenile would be eligible to go to the class. We still participate that with e-bike sense, and then ultimately get the citation dismissed. Now, say for example, another scenario, that juvenile does a wheelie through the stop sign and almost collides into somebody walking through the crosswalk. This is actually a real life scenario that has happened. Well, that person would then get the stop sign citation, and with this ordinance, we more than likely would also impound their e-bike because that's egregious. So
Understood. You're saying mere traffic violations, you don't know what you're doing, you kind of get the opportunity to come take a class, learn from your mistake, no harm, no foul. This is going to help you enforce serious life safety, egregious conduct on e-bikes, and give you the tools you need to help keep us safe.
yes, sir.
100%.
All right. Any further questions? All right, who'd like to introduce the reading of the ordinance?
An ordinance amending Titles 1 and 8 of the El Segundo Municipal Code to regulate electric bikes, off-highway motorcycles, motorized bicycles, motorized scooters, pocket bikes, and any other electric or motorized conveyance in the city is ready for introduction.
I'll introduce. Okay, thank you so much.
Be brought back at the next regular meeting for potential adoption.
All right, thank you both.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next on the agenda, introduction of two ordinances amending the El Segundo Municipal Code Title 13 to adopt by reference with certain local amendments all relevant parts of the 2025 California Building Standards Code, the 2024 International Property Maintenance Code, and the 2024 Swimming Pool and Spas Code, and the 2025 California Fire Code.
And if I might just procedurally explain that tonight is, this is a process that's backwards from what the normal adoption of ordinances and resolutions is. The public hearing is usually done at the first reading of these items. Since we're adopting this by reference under the government code, the first meeting and hearing, if you will, is not the public hearing. So tonight, these will be introduced, but the actual public hearing will be held in 2 weeks. And at that meeting, again, we'll have the public hearing then, and then the adoption will occur at that time. So it's just a little bit backwards. I can't explain why, other than that's what the government code provides, and so we follow it.
Thank you for the clarification, Mark. It is a strange adjustment we make every 3 years going through this, and we're so accustomed to the traditional process. This one always throws us for a loop when we do the noticing and this process. But before you tonight is the triennial building code and fire code adoption that we bring. It's a little bit routine, but there's an allowance for local municipalities to localize and adopt specific provisions to that community. And so we have the chance to do so. So in addition to adopting the state codes as they're adopted by the state of California, as well as the International Code Council, we're also carrying over previous triennial amendments that we've made, which we'll review very quickly. And then probably for the first time, we're recommending some areas of the code that need to be or can be stricken out, primarily because they're either duplicative or just more burdensome than they need to be. There's already codes that address those issues, and I'm joined by our building official, Art Ramirez, and our fire inspector, J.C. Rianis, who have both stepped up to the plate to help myself and Battalion Chief Ali put this together today, and really appreciative of their help this evening. So they'll be up in a moment. But before you, as I mentioned, we adopt this every 3 years. They generally take effect 6 months after the state adopts them. They did that earlier this summer. And so now they will be effective prior to, or on January 1st. So prior to January 1st, we needed to bring this to the body, have the public hearing in 2 weeks from now, and then ours will also be effective as of January 1st. The only considerations tonight, other than the code sections that we are adopting by reference, are the amendments that we are carrying over. And we have those amendments because over the years, our fire marshal or building official have made certain observations or recognize a certain need to provide ramped up or more strict codes. For example, an easy example is the RSI program. We have more strict sound insulation standards for our residential community than a standard California building code might suggest otherwise. And so we do make those amendments, or we suggest those amendments based on our local circumstances that we have in El Segundo. And overall, the amendments usually need to be more restrictive. It's very seldom or rare that we can adopt a regulation that is less restrictive than California building code. The carryover amendments, these are the same that have been adopted every 3 years for several code cycles. Our administrative guidelines, so that's just our localized administrative interpretation, use, enforcement, giving the community development director, the building official, the fire marshal, the fire chief, the inspectors authority to enforce these codes, as well as adopting the International Property Maintenance Code and Swimming Pool and Spa Code, because they're a little bit more comprehensive than the California Building Code. Secondly, some examples of the other carryover amendments are our localized fees, which are different in El Segundo than they are in other cities for building permits and fire permits, as well as the expiration for a plan check. State code allows a plan check to expire after 12 months. We replicate that 12 months, but we allow an ability for a building official, our code gives a building official the ability to extend a plan check for 90-day increments, as long as they show good faith effort towards continuing that building permit process. Additionally, the refund process and standards for roof and ceiling construction. This is where we get into the RSI standards that are a little bit different. Sprinkler systems and smoke detection systems, which are all a little bit more strict than the standard state codes, and primarily related to the last two, specifically just ensuring life safety. If sprinklers are going to be required in a structure, our code requires that the whole structure be brought up to code with sprinklers, similarly with smoke detection. With that, I'm going to go ahead and hand it over to Art, who will go over just very briefly the local amendments specific to the building code that we are suggesting for removal or strikeout.
Good evening, Council. Yeah, a lot of times, so when we decided when we were doing this, the proposed amendments, so instead of adding, we looked into our code section of local municipal, along with our consultant, we decided, we can remove some of these older codes or that we either consider redundant, like Michael said, or just out of date, or sometimes they're even just errors or copies of other amendments that were already there. So see, these are some of the ones that we decided to get rid of. These are some examples. There's probably a couple more there in the attachments in the staff report. But here, like say the Access Board of Appeals, we discovered that, it's obsolete. The city, we don't even maintain a disability Board of Appeals. So making this election, locally would be non-functional. We don't have one and it's there. Another one would be like, say, intentional intermodal shipping containers. There was tons of sections that were just redundant, and it's covered in the 2025. Just like everything else too, the continuous footing, same thing. Obviously, you can see a lot of them are just redundant codes that we just started eliminating from the Muni code. So the one look, it's just there. So those are samples of stuff that we took out instead of adding, and it just makes our Muni code a little bit easier to read. In the end, instead of having so much redundant stuff, and people look at it and can't make heads or tails. So we're trying to make it a little bit easier. And those are probably just the gist, but some of the stuff is it is attached to further in the staff report. And then for fire, basically it's the same thing. JC wants to, and basically saying, yeah.
Good evening, Council. Everyone else in attendance, JC Reynes, Fire Prevention Specialist here with the Fire Department. Very similar to what Art was saying. The fire code's recommended for removal, right? Our goal is to have continuity, share a lot of continuity between fire and building. Just to emphasize the importance of optimizing not only smoother processes overall, but to streamline those processes as well. Also to eliminate redundancy. So what you'll see here, for example, technical assistance is already addressed in the 2025 California Fire Code. And you'll see here, it kind of breaks it down for you here, whether they're obsolete or deleted from the previous code cycle. So the goal here is to prioritize, like I said, and optimize community safety and preparedness while maintaining a great relationship with other departments within the city, so that whether it's the Sparks, for example, or smaller tenant improvement, that everybody's on the same page, not only with us, but with the contractors we come across as well, and everyone else involved. And that's pretty much it on my end when it comes to removal. So, thank you, guys.
Thank you, JC. Thank you, Art. That concludes the formality of the presentation. Happy to answer any questions, but again, as Mark mentioned, the actual public hearing will happen in 2 weeks, and we'll notice it accordingly. And if there is follow-up, we can always come back with more information in 2 weeks as well. With that, we're asking you to introduce the item so that we may come back for a public hearing.
We have several to introduce, correct?
And actually, we're going to do the same with the resolution. We're just going to introduce those tonight. All of this will be the county doc public hearing. So I'm going to read 2 ordinances and 2 resolutions, and I'm going to ask for all of you to introduce individually. Start. First one, An ordinance adopting the 2025 edition of the California Building Code, 2025 California Residential Code, 2025 California Electrical Code, 2025 Mechanical Code, 2025 California Plumbing Code, 2025 California Energy Code, 2025 California Historical Building Code, 2025 California Existing Building Code, 2025 California Green Building Standards Code, 2025 California Wildland Urban Interface Code, 2024 International Swimming Pool and Spa Code, 2024 International Property Maintenance Code with certain appendices and amendments, and amending the El Segundo Municipal Code to reflect such adoption is ready for introduction.
Baldino will introduce.
Next, a resolution making express findings and determinations supporting city modifications to the California Building Standards Code because of local climatic, geographical, or topographical conditions is ready for introduction.
Baldino will introduce.
Next, an ordinance adopting the 2025 edition of the California Fire Code, Part 9 of Title 24 of the California Code of Regulations with certain appendices and amendments, and amending the El Segundo Municipal Code to reflect such adoption is ready for introduction.
Baldino will introduce.
A resolution making express findings and determinations supporting city modifications to the California Fire Code because of local climatic, geographical, or topographical conditions is ready for introduction.
Baldino will introduce.
And all four of these items will be brought back in the next regular meeting for a public hearing and potential adoption.
And that will be December 2nd,
Correct.
2025. All right. Thank you, Mr. Hensley. Next on the agenda is our announcement of appointments to committees, commission, boards. We want to thank everybody who came and interviewed. We had some great candidates this go around. It's always great to see people who want to volunteer. The candidates who have been appointed are as follows. For our Investment Advisory Committee, Mr. Roger Nieves is appointed to a full term to expire on October 31st, 2028. For the Senior Citizen Housing Corporation Board, Mr. George Funk has been appointed for a partial term to expire June 30th, 2029. All right, next brings us to reports. Madam Clerk, anything tonight?
Yes, I would love to thank the El Segundo Chamber, our city staff, and the folks from Cali Smash. What an amazing state of the city. That was so terrific, and I know you guys worked really, really hard on that. Thank you very, very much. It was enjoyed by all. Last week, our clerk staff attended the 2025 City Clerk's New Law and Election Seminar, and that was hosted by Cal Cities. Very informative, and we got a lot of new stuff coming down the pike. So thank you for allocating funds for that. That's it.
Thank you. Councilmember Drew.
Nothing from me this evening.
Councilmember Boyes.
Nothing for me, thank you.
A few quick items. I attended the LAWA Roundtable meeting that the City of El Segundo is a member of. I was asked to put on the agenda a discussion about the reporting of the preferential runway policy. That is basically the policy that mandates if a cargo jet can take off from either the runway closest to us or the one a little more north, they're supposed to go to the one north. We used to get carrier usage of who was complying and who wasn't. That would allow us to put some pressure on those that didn't comply. That has gone away, I believe, since 2016. And so we've asked to put on the agenda to bring back that data so that we can have a better understanding of who is complying with that regulation and who isn't. And so that will be followed up on our next meeting. On the 14th, I attended the environmental subcommittee meeting. We were joined by the new Hyperion liaison, Miss Melissa Palmendone. She has recently been appointed to the job from LA Department of Water and Power to serve as a liaison. I hope we didn't scare her off with all of our questions. We were appreciative of her being there, and I gave the city manager her contact information as well. Hopefully she'll be able to answer some of our questions about Hyperion. And then briefly at the aquatics subcommittee meeting, on the consent, we approved a contractor substitution for the concrete work, which is in the front of the building. That had to get approval from us before that substitution could get made. They're saying they hope that will not delay the project, and they're still shooting for February of 2026 for completion of the plunge, which means you still have time to donate. Please do. Don't waste time. Some other events of note, there is a dive-in movie this Friday at the Aquatics Center. I believe they're doing Monsters Incorporated. There is a lap competition called the Holiday Hustle, where if you want to go against other users of the pool and clock how many times you go to the pool. They will keep track so that you can have a little competition. And we are getting reports of interest from Olympic teams, in addition to the French team, the USA team, the Australian team, and Great Britain are looking at our aquatic center for possible practice use during the 28 Olympics. City Manager, any reports?
Yes, Mayor Pro Tem, just a brief Hyperion report, and thank you for recognizing the new communications person with Hyperion. Melissa, I'll be reaching out to her. Also, the meeting that they had planned for November 6th, kind of the check-in meeting with Hyperion, staff, Heal the Bay, and our staff, that meeting was canceled. There was some issues over there at Hyperion that, anyway, they'll be rescheduling that. As for the odor complaints, since our November 4th meeting, AQMD has received 14 odor complaints. And there were no notices of violation issued during this period. And then finally, on the 13th, Hyperion had an electrical component failure. The facility began flaring at approximately 11:45 in the morning. It was immediately, the component was replaced, and the flares stopped roughly around 7 p.m. that day. So that was the report we got from them, and that concludes the Hyperion report. Thank you.
City Attorney, any report?
Just briefly, perhaps the next meeting, but certainly by the second meeting in December, we'll bring forward the highlights of the legislation from the year. You've already heard some of them. Clerk's office is going to be busy by mid-year. We have to go to virtual meetings, allowing virtual attendance by the public. That'll be a significant change and has some challenges to it. And of course, there's been a lot of housing laws once again passed. I think the ADU law went through its, I think, 8th Amendment in 9 years, something like that. So lots of changes, and we'll bring us highlights, summary of that in one of the next two meetings.
While I always look forward to and appreciate the updates of what's happening in Sacramento, I think highlights is probably not the best word. It is what it is.
Point well taken.
Yeah. Thank you for that. That brings us to adjournment. Thank you, everybody.